Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Quantum Leap Futures Morning Leap session for Monday, October the 1st, 2018. My name is Doug McKay. I'm founder of Quantum Leap Futures. Each morning we get together in these live go-to sessions to take a look at the market macro to micro, take a look at the structure of the market, and then we drill down to our trade levels, our targets, and our hypotheses. Our hypotheses are our trade plans. We do not know what the market's going to do. Therefore, we have multiple trade plans in place. We wait for the market to open up, and then we execute the plan that best suits the market. This is a subscription room. If you're interested in checking it out, send me an email at quantumleapfutures@gmail.com. There's no website. There's no blog. This is not a commercial venture. We do everything live here in the go-to, in the pre-market, and then we do live trading and analysis during the course of the trading day. Please read through the disclaimer. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and any trades that you see in Quantum Leap are for education purposes only. Please trade your own due diligence, your own trade plan, and your own risk metrics. So taking a look at Friday, the most important thing to note is we basically held inside of balance from Thursday, and other than opening up outside of the range, we had hypo 2 pretty much play out, although it was pretty muted for the most part. Very light volume for a month end until we got into the final closing moments, and basically they just really put a lot of volume off, and we had price acceptance here at the 29.19 area. And if you remember, we've been talking about that 29.19 to 29.21 all week, and the amount of volume that has gone off. Of course, over the course of the weekend, we had news from the Canada and United States reaching an agreement on the new trade deal. I forget what it's not called NAFTA anymore, but the key point is that the trade deal has given us a pop, and we opened up a gap, and we had a gap and go on a Sunday, and we're likely to continue this move up. If we can come up and accept that 36 and get above it, then we're looking at new all-time highs. We'll get into that in just a minute. Let's take a look at the news for today. 9 minutes, we've got Bostic speaking from the Fed. 39 minutes, we've got RBC manufacturing PMI from Canada. 54 minutes, we've got manufacturing PMI from the United States. But the big one today is going to be the ISM manufacturing PMI at 10 o'clock Eastern time, and its associated reports that go with it. And then at 11:30, we have 3-month and 6-month bill auction. And then we've got FOMC Rosengren speaking at 12:15. Bank of Canada Governor Council Lane will speak at 1 o'clock. So we have a fair amount of news. In fact, this week we've got a fair amount of news all week. But of course, remember, it's going to be a lot of headline news still with the whole Kavanaugh, confirmation. We've got Canada now put behind us, but we still have China, and we still have North Korea, and everything that's coming out of Europe in terms of Brexit as well. So keep an eye on the news. Moves can come out of nowhere. Now, each day I like to start my day with a simple candlestick chart. I do this every day. I don't veer from it. It is a very basic exercise, but it's an important exercise because it keeps me within thinking, not getting too tight in my thinking and getting pigeonholed into a smaller retail mentality, which a lot of traders end up doing. I use a 9 EMA, 20 SMA. I'm looking for the strength of the trend through slope and separation. Is price paralleling the 9 nicely? I'm looking to see if it's challenging the 9 and challenging the trend, or is it breaking through the 9 and the 20 and possibly getting a new trend change. You can see 14 months of one-time framing. February, we violated that one-time framing, but they were unable to close below the 9, and then we get the continuation pattern. And here we are, we're opening up. The open of last month at 29.1150. We opened this month, higher up at the 29.20 and a quarter area. And we got this this continuation. We don't even challenge the trend until we get back to the 28.04 level. So 133 points below us. So even a pullback would not violate the trend on the monthly. On the weekly, basically the same thing. We got good slope, good separation. Trend is very strong. We're above, last week's open and close, and coming up and challenging last week's high, which was up at that 29.36. Good slope, good separation. We don't even challenge the trend until we get back into the 2800s, 28.95. Going to the daily, you can see that we were one time framing down here, and then we violated it, and here we go. We're bouncing up off of the 20, a test of the 20 SMA. We're back above the 9, and we're getting a possibility of upward trend on the daily. Going to the 4 hour, we've been trending up. We got a little bit of a technical gap, but we've got a weak high up here at the 37.75 area. A pullback to test the 9 will bring us back into the 29 area, which is still above yesterday's high or Friday's high that we put in. And we'll talk about that. And then just going down to the 30-minute. The 30-minute is, I've seen some weakness coming in, and we're below the 9 and the 20. So we've got a possibility of, I'm using the 32 area as a over-under line. So we get below that, I'm looking for them to move down and close the gap. But just remember that, the news of the NAFTA deal is pretty big news, and it's affected the futures. It's going to affect the S&P and the equity market, which will also pour fuel on the futures. So if we get into a gap and go scenario, don't try to fade this market this morning. You can get in trouble very quickly. So taking a look at the structure of the market, the microcomposite VPOC that goes from the gap up day on the 24th of August. The microcomposite is down here at the 28.94 area. We come up and we put in this microcomposite at the 12s, popped up, took out the unequalized all-time high, put in a new unequalized all-time high. The Globex all-time high is 47. The RTH is 46.50. Then we try to hold value at that 36, and we come back and we chop around in this gap area all week, and we accept value in around that 19. And then once we get the and we close basically right there, just above that 19 on Friday, on some heavy volume going into the weekend. And then we have the news on the weekend about the NAFTA deal, and we put in some heavy volume overnight. We have OTF activity. We've gone up and tested 37.75. We've fallen back a bit. The LVN right here, which is basically sitting just on the top of Thursday's high, and that's why I'm using it as a over-under line, 32, what is it, 32.50. If we get below that, then we're getting inside of these wicks, and we could come down and get stuck in these 3 wicks here as they further the auction and come back towards this 19. If we can hold above the 32 and stay out of Thursday, because Thursday and Friday were very balanced, if we can stay out of that, then I'm looking for them to come up and challenge the 36, take out the overnight high, and push up into new all-time highs. Our overnight low is all the way down here at the 2250, which is basically the open of the month, the week, and the Globex session. So it's less likely we come back and take that out this morning. I'm looking for the overnight high at 37.75 to get taken out, basically based on what I anticipate to be some type of an open drive or an open test drive on the open due to the NAFTA news. That doesn't mean it's gonna happen, but I'm watching this 32. If we get below 32, then I'm looking for the possibility of a half gap fill and a move down into the 25. So we'll have to just calculate that. So moving our levels over from overnight low 2250. That's our month open and our week open. It's also right there at our value area high. Below that, this is very good kurtosis here around the 19. If in fact we get below the open and get back inside of yesterday's value, I would be anticipating a rotation back down into that 19 and a test of the value area low, which is sitting just below the daily ATR down target. Our 20 period full session average true range is running at 2060. So off of the overnight high of 37.75, our downside daily ATR target is down at 17 1/4, and off of the low of 2250, our upside daily ATR target is all the way up here in the 43 1/4, right near the all-time highs. So if we open right here, and again, we still have 32 minutes to go, but if we open right here in the 33 area, our close was 20 1/4 on Friday. So our half gap fill is 26.75 approximately. I'll have to adjust it once we open up. But it's going to give us a bit of a marker. So taking a look at the overnight, it's a P-shaped profile, but it's based on news, and it's not short covering in my opinion. So I'm not looking for a move back down. So I'm going to be watching, and I'm going to just adjust this down to incorporate the LVN. The LVN right here is 31.75. So I'm going to use from 31 to 32 as my over-under zone. And above it, I'm staying on the long side. Below it, I'll look for them to come back. And this is not the week open. The week open is 22.50, but it's also the month open. So I'm just going to take that right off. Below it, then I'm looking for a move back down into the 26.75 area as a possibility. So in terms of hypotheses, because of the fact that we've got news and we got gap, my number one hypothesis is a open test drive. I'm looking for an open move down to test the 31, possibly come down into the 26.75, but I think that's going to be less likely, and I'm looking for a driving type open and a move up into the overnight high right away, chop between the 36 and the 40 area, and a push up into the all-time highs up here at the 46.50 and 47, and seeing a new all-time high. It's the first of the month, so we got positioning, we've got news, and we've got a gap. Okay, so gap rules are in effect. So if we don't close this gap within the first 2 hours, less likely we're going to see this gap close today, and I'd be looking for a continuation up in a driving or drifting type market up into the close. Hypo 2 is a open auction out of range, a push up. Fail to take out the overnight high or just take it out, but sellers stepping in somewhere between 36 and 40. This is the seller's defense area right here. You can call it the key line in the sand above if you want, but I'm looking for sellers to defend this area And then in hypo 2, I'd be looking for them to come down and close the gap, chop between the 32 and the 25, and basically go sideways with maybe a late day probe down into the overnight low and the value area, but unable to get back into value. That is hypo 2. So hypo 2 is more of a sideways day fighting the high from the prior, from Friday. Hypo 1 is a open test drive and driving action up into new all-time highs. Hypo 3 is a breakdown day, failure to take the naked VPOC at 40 out, sellers take control, and in this scenario, we come down and we fight the value area and the high from Friday, and then push down and take a trip through value down into the value area low and chop inside around this 19 and close somewhere around here. That is hypo 3. Hypo, hypo, I'm losing track of my hypos. Was that 3 or 4? 1, open test drive. 2, come down and fight and go sideways. 3, a breakdown day. 4 will be a drive into a trend type scenario and getting up into the 2960 area. But I think that is less likely. So I'm really looking at, hypo 1, 2, or 3. And to be truthful, other than hypo 3, I think hypo 2 and hypo 1 have equal weighted, but I still think that the bigger possibility is a push up because of the NAFTA news and the way the market's going to react in general once the equities are open. Taking a look at gold. Gold continues to try to stay in this balance zone. We did break the key fractal low we were talking about at 92.70. We got the move down into the 86.50, and we've bounced there, and we're now back above this 1190. 1190 becomes our key line in the sand. Below it, I think they push below this, which will be a break of, it's not a fractal yet, but a break below the low on Friday, which is 1184.30, and a push down and a leg down, moving back towards the 1150 area. If we can get back inside of value, up above the 1198, look for them to challenge the 1200 to 1202, and then we could just hold in here, balance some more, and get the leg up. I thought the next leg would be back up towards this 33, but we've, I said if they broke below the 92 and didn't hold the 1200s, we could, see a bigger move down to 1150. We'll have to wait and see. But gold has just been in the sideways pattern and holding, trying to hold that 1200, but not doing a very good job of it the last couple of days. That's going to complete our pre-market session. As always, trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.